all of my little hash browns are doing well. And I hope that you guys have been paying attention for area. We've been working with parallelograms so far. And remember, a parallelogram is a polygon that has parallel sides. Today we're going to start talking about parallelograms, and we're going to look at shaded area, and I'm going to explain that. We're going to dig right in with an example, because the best way to understand it is to see an example. Okay, so let's dig right in. So for our example, this is how you would see these problems worded. Find the area of the shaded region. And by region, all they basically mean is the shaded area, the region of the shape that is shaded, okay? So let's make sure that if I'm writing, you're writing. I say that all the time, right? So let's start by practicing drawing a polygon, a parallelogram. And we're going to draw two diagonal parallel lines. And then we're going to close it by drawing two horizontal parallel lines. Okay? And since it is a parallelogram, we need the height. And we need the width. Let's go ahead and say these are feet. Okay? And then in the middle over here somewhere, we're going to draw a rectangle. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade in part of the shape. So I'm going to show you the shaded area in purple, but that's not how it's always going to be. Typically, you'll see it in gray or something, okay? So these lines are indicating that this is the shaded area, okay? And notice I'm not putting lines through that little rectangle. What I want you to think about that little rectangle as is, think of it as a cutout, okay? So perhaps you have a piece of fabric that's a square, and you cut a square out of it. You throw the square that you cut out into the garbage, but the square that's left, or the shape that's left, it'll probably look like a picture frame. That's the shaded area. So that's what this is. This is an area we cut out and threw away. All right, so the area that we cut out and threw away is, let's say, 10 feet by 10 feet. Okay? So remember, the square is cut out. It's not there. So the key here is of course my phone would ring when I'm recording a lesson, is to the key is to subtract the square. Okay? All right, so here we go. Ready? We have a polygon. What's the area formula for a polygon? The polygon is going to be area equals base times height. All right, then we have a square. The square is going to be area equals base times height. Okay? now we actually have to do the math, so we have to fill in our formulas. Okay, so for the polygon, our height is 20. Our base is 16. So 20 times 16 is going to be 320 feet squared. Okay. And then our square, our area, our base is 10. Our height is 10. When we multiply, we get our area of 100 feet squared. Okay, now the key is, remember, the key is you have to remember to subtract that shape, that non-shaded area, that shape that's not shaded. And today it's a square, but eventually it could be a triangle or something else. So you'll learn those formulas, but just bear in mind that the not shaded, or essentially the white area, is the area that you're subtracting. Okay, so we've got 320 minus 100 gives us 220 feet squared, and that is our answer. Okay. Now, we could also have done this as an order of operations if we knew how to do it properly. Once we get it into our order formation, we could have said, well, 20 times 16 minus 10, times 10, and then do the math down. So we would have gotten 320 minus 100 would be 220, and then we just have to write it as 220 feet squared. Okay, so that's another way to look at how to solve it. Okay, so that was one example. Let's do one more example. I have a sample here we're going to use. Okay, so this one's a little hard to see, so I'm gonna increase it a little. And I will tell you that this is 3 feet. This is 5 feet. I know it's hard to see, and this is 1 foot. Okay. Okay, so now I have this parallelogram. I'm trying to figure out what is the area for the shaded region. Okay, so again, parallelogram, I know my area formula is area equals base times height. And then for the rectangle, area equals base times height. And I do my formulas ahead of time. So this is my parallelogram, this is my rectangle. I do my formulas ahead of time because that way, if I see a formula that hasn't been filled in, then I know that I haven't finished the problem. Because some people will be excited that they found the area for the parallelogram, get excited, and then all of a sudden they forget to go back and do the rectangle and then subtract it. So I write down all the formulas that I'm going to need to solve first, and then I solve everything so that I know that I've written it down, and hopefully it'll cause my mind to say, wait, I didn't solve that formula. All right, and then if it helps, you can also go minus in between the two. Okay, so area equals base times height. So the base of my parallelogram is 7. The height of my parallelogram, remember I look for that line that looks like an H. In this case it's backwards, but it looks like an H. It goes from the base of the shape all the way up to its highest point, so that's my height, times 5. And then for my rectangle, my base is 1 times 3. Okay, now I solve them. 7 times 5 is 35. So area equals 35 feet squared. And then over here, 1 times 3 equals 3. So area equals 3 feet squared. Okay. Now, I have to remember the subtraction part. So I have to do 35 minus 3 is 32 feet squared. That's my answer. Make sure you put a square or a circle around it so that we know, that you know what that answer is, okay? All right, so today for your practice activity, you're going to have another worksheet to do. You're going to work on a piece of paper separately, do all of your math, and then you go in and put your answers into the worksheet. I'm sorry, into the quiz. If you can print the worksheet, great. If not, just keep it up on your computer screen and look at it. Make sure you do the math on your paper. Remember, if you have larger numbers like this one right here, you can use a calculator because as long as you're doing the formula correctly, the calculator is really only doing the simple math, which you should be able to do anyway by hand, okay? All right. Have a good day, guys.